In 2014, and I hope that Senator Abaribe was a senator by that time, in 2014, President Goodluck Jonathan awarded the Coastal Rail Line. Coastal Rail Line takes off, and this is critical so that you know that our people, the Igbos, are included. The Coastal Rail Line takes off from Lagos to Shagamu, Shagamu to Ijebu-Ode, Ijebu-Ode to Benin City, Benin City to Sapele, Sapele to Warri, Warri to Yenagua, with a siding to Otuoke, and from Yenagua to Port Harcourt. If you know the geography of Nigeria very well, from Port Harcourt you can go to Uyo. From Port Harcourt you can go to Uyo without going to Aba at all. And that is what is called the East-West Road. But to ensure that the Igbos were included, he took off from Port Harcourt to Aba. And Aba is part of Southeast. It's in the state in which the distinguished senator of the Federal Republic comes from, Senator Abaribe comes from. Aba is in Abia State. It takes off from Aba to Uyo, which is longer and costlier. So it covered Aba to Uyo, Uyo to Calabar. If you look at that same map, please go to the map of the coastal rail. That's why I brought the PowerPoint presentation, so that we can all see it before. Coastal rail. The coastal rail is one on yellow. No, go back to that. Chairman, if you look at the yellow one, that spur you're seeing there is headed to Onitsha. So it takes off from Benin to Abo, Abo to Asaba, Asaba to Onitsha, crossing the River Niger. Onitsha is in Anambra State, sir. So it would be wrong for anybody to say the Igbos were not carried along in course of rail development. And the Coastal Rail was awarded by President Goodluck Jonathan in 2014 at a sum of $11.97 billion. It was under President Buhari that it was brought down to $11.1 billion, saving $800 million. Now, so both projects may not have covered the entire Northeast and the entire Southeast, but at least it's got to Southeast, either through Aba or through Onitsha. Now, when we came in as a government, because of the financial, before we came in, because of the huge financial implication, these projects were stopped by President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, and it was decided that we shall do the segmentation. Since the China Exim Bank can't give us all the money we needed at that time, there was need for segmentation. So they started with the Kaduna Abuja, which has been completed. We borrowed in that one, we borrowed about $800 million or so, and that has been completed and been put into use. The next segment is one we're applying for the loan, the Lagos-Ibadan. And it's critical for us to know that as a country, it's a bit embarrassing that nearly 6 months after approval, we have not assessed that loan because we have not been able to sign that loan. And the total loan package is $60 billion for Africa, and about 50 countries are battling to get that $60 billion. Out of the $60 billion, Nigeria is asking for 20. And they have managed to approve 1.5, and are considering to approve Kano Kaduna and Port Harcourt Calabar, which includes Aba. It means that, and they have written to say that if we are not interested, they will move the money somewhere else to other countries that are interested. So since the approval, we are not able to continue. We are working, but we are not able to go at the speed with which we were supposed to go because we are yet to get approval from the Senate to go to sign the loan with the China Exim Bank. Now, if you check the next, okay, I've taken the map where you have the, listen. The Lagos-Ibadan, with the exception of Apapa Port Complex, Lagos and Kaduna, Kano, are both segments of the Lagos-Kano Railway. They are the same. Even though we have a better news now, the China Exim Bank says that they are ready to fund from Ibadan to Kano now. Now, it is, when the president came to power, when President Buhari came to power, he felt, look, we have not even implemented the one we have. We cannot just start awarding a new contract. That the right thing to do is to start the implementation. It is this implementation that is being truncated. This is that implementation of the contract awarded by President Obasanjo and President Goodluck Jonathan that is being truncated now. And if you look at the three segments that we chose the segments as to cover a lot of places. Port Harcourt, Aba, and we looked at Calabar and Uyo because of how bad the road is. We included it in that segment. Now, we need to come back again to the National Assembly because the China Exim Bank is asking for the entire loan to be applied for, which is $11.174 billion. It's also wrong for anybody to say that this administration does not like the Igbos. Without the prompting of the Senate resolution, in March, I hope they attach the document there, we wrote to the president, and I want to clearly state it here, to give us approval to begin to source for a loan for the following projects. The first project is the completion of Itabe Ajokuta Warri, including connections to Warri Port and Refinery, with a section from Itabe to Abuja. So we wanted to start from Abuja and end up at Warri with a seaport in Warri. But without the seaport, it will cost us $3 billion. Bonny Deep Seaport will cost us $1.3 billion. Then we also took off from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. The application is about Umuahia, Umuahia to Enugu, Enugu to, with a branch line to Abakaliki. Even from Aba, there's a branch line to Owerri. Then Abakaliki to Makodi, Makodi to Lafia, Lafia to Kuru, Kuru to Bauchi, Bauchi to Gombe, Gombe to Biu, with a branch line to Yobe and Damaturu, and finally end up at Maiduguri. So I honestly don't know where this information is coming from, that the Southeast is left out. In that application that we wrote to the president, we also included Kano, Kazuri, Daura, Katsina, Jibia to link Maradi in Niger Republic at $2.9 billion. We also included a branch line to Ado-Ekiti on the Lagos-Kano standard gauge rail line, which is $400 million. We included a branch line to Akure in Ondo State, $250 million, and another line, Aba to Owerri, Owerri to Newi, Newi to Onitsha, to link the coastal rail at $1.1 billion. Chairman, sir, it is not the responsibility of the executive to start announcing proposals on the street. In fact, I had to seek the approval of the acting president to declassify this document, because this document has left the hands of the president to Ministry of Finance. So the fact that you have not seen a proposal in the budget does not mean that the government is not taking any action. The government is taking action, and we have brought before this committee that request to the president, asking for approval to seek for fund for foreign loan to enable us complete what we refer to as a railway modernization, and that's the railway modernization. You can see it there. So it covers the whole of the country. All you can say is what is critical to us for now is Lagos to Kano, Lagos to Calabar, and Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. Once you do this, the other ones can come in over the period of time. So I think that, I thought that my friend and brother would have called our attention, he's my friend, he knows that, and say, what are we doing about the Southeast, where I also come from? It's important that that is taken into consideration. Now, that is as it concerns the standard gauge. We have also engaged GE to revive the old narrow gauge. The old narrow gauge starts from Port Harcourt, where I come from, to Aba, Aba to Umuahia, Umuahia to Enugu, Enugu to Makodi, up to Maiduguri. I don't know whether these names are not in the Southeast. The next one they are reviving, and it will start this year. Once we conclude, we've gotten approval from the cabinet. What we're doing now is that we're negotiating with them on the terms of the PPP arrangement. The next one is they would also, at the same time, rehabilitate the Lagos to Kano line up to Funtua. So honestly, Chairman, sir, I don't know where this information is coming from. Thank you, sir.
Over to Abaribe, can you distinguish?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Minister, let me first remind you that in 2014 you were governor and you were PDP governor, which means that whatever was also approved that time, and you were chairman of Governors Forum. So all of you were part of who did that decision to do this contract, so that you don't make it look as if you were divorced from what was happening. That's just my first point. Second point, sir, your own document, which you brought here, says something very critical. It says here, status of other geopolitical zones not included in the rail modernization project. That's your own words, which means there were zones that were not included. And those zones, you have also put inside the project. I'm reading your own document.
Which page?
Unfortunately, you didn't paginate.
Which one? Let me see.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think you have seen it now.
Yes, I've seen it.
Because when you talked first about the implementation of railway modernization and went all the way down to what we are saying, which is all right. We have no problems with that. Where we have a problem, which is where the motion that brought all of us together here today is based on the letter written by Mr. President for this same loan, and I will quote for you parts of that document. This is from our votes and proceedings, so it's no longer a classified document. Once it's votes and proceedings, then it's open. It says here, we are already in the process of completing the concession of the Port Harcourt to Maiduguri line to immediately link the eastern parts of the country, which means, number one, you have acknowledged, this letter acknowledges that the eastern part was not part of it. Secondly, that this letter is that you are now in the process of doing the concessioning. In other words, when you talk about concession, what immediately comes to mind is the fact that you're not seeking for a loan, you're seeking for somebody to come and build that portion, except that is not what is the intendment of this letter. If that is not, I'm sure you will also explain for us. It is on the basis of this part that we now said, you cannot, if you're going to go according to section 42 of this constitution, so 42(1)(a), very clear, and I can quote that for you too. And I'm sure as former speaker for 8 years, you have this constitution in your head. So you know what constitution for is? You cannot discriminate on the basis of where you come from or where you are or anything within this country. And so we felt that a plan that says there will be a borrowing for modernization on one part and a concessioning for modernization on the other part, that is purely discriminatory, and that we wanted an explanation. And Honorable Minister, I suffice to say that your explanations today simply gives us details of what you're doing. It doesn't tell us who made that decision that there should be concessioning on one side and there should be borrowing on another side. That is what we want to know. And that is why we're talking about fairness.
Yes. Chairman, sir.
Can you? You can respond.
You know, I say about misleading information. And I thought that Senator Abaribe heard me very well when I said that we are concessioning both Lagos to Kano and Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. I made two presentations. I said narrow gauge. It's important that Senator Abaribe takes this because of the information he's giving to the public. The information is given to the public is not complete, sir, with all respect to Senator Baribe. The information is that we are concessioning to GE the Western Line, which is Lagos to Kano to Funtua and Kaura Namoda, the old narrow gauge, and Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. I don't know why discrimination has come in there.
No, let me get you very clearly. What does concessioning mean?
Concessioning means that GE will bring their money, rehabilitate the old narrow gauge of Lagos to Kaura Namoda and Funtua and Kano down to Lagos, and Port Harcourt all through Enugu, Umahia, and other to Borno, Maiduguri.
Fine, I agree with you. That's concessioning. So
agree?
where does this loan come from?
Can I finish, sir, now?
Yes.
So I'm saying that you're misleading people when you say to people that we are giving others loan and then concession the southeast. No, sir. We are concessioning the narrow gauge. The entire narrow gauge is being concessioned.
Hold on.
Let me put another part of the to you, because if you don't have it, then it will look like I'm giving wrong if I'm not giving wrong information. I'm simply using the same letter you wrote to me. Part of this letter also says, we fully intend to source further concessional funding to ultimately upgrade this critical line to a high-speed standard gauge. That is for which one now? The Eastern Line. So if the Eastern Line is concessioning, that is where we have a problem.
Senator, also please listen to us. Since this document has been declassified, I want to read it to the Senator so that the public can hear. This letter was written 26th April. There was no motion before the floor. And it's written to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Approval to source financials, consortium of financials for implementation of prioritized railway projects, and to engage Federal Minister of Finance in the process. Dear Mr. President, I write to most respectfully, sir, seek Mr. President's approval to source financials, consortium of financials for implementation of priority railway projects, and to engage Federal Minister of Finance to collaborate with the ministry on this endeavor. This is in pursuit of government desire for a viable railway network with connections to all major economic, commerce, and administrative centers, and thereby facilitate national economic growth and promote commerce and social interactions of the citizens. Mr. President, I wish to seize this opportunity to appreciate your unrelenting effort for rejuvenation of our economy through the provision of national infrastructure, of which railway is of major importance and all that. To congratulate you in this regard on the commencement of construction of Lagos-Ibadan Railway project with extension to Apapa Port, Segment 2 of Lagos-Kano Rail Modernization Project. The milestone reached within this period by the President's administration with the completion and flagging off for operation of Abuja-Kaduna Rail Line by Mr. President on July 26th, the conclusion of the contracts for Kaduna-Kano Segment 3A of Lagos-Kano Rail Modernization Project and Calabar-Port Harcourt with extension to Onne Deep Sea Port, Segment 1 of Nigerian Coastal Railway Project, and the declaration to concession the existing Nigerian Railway Corporation narrow gauge rail line is significant and a positive development. Precisely, Mr. President, the prioritized railway projects with cost implications derived from their feasibility studies, aside from the Lagos-Kano and Lagos-Calabar coastal rail lines, whose implementation have already commenced, are assisted in the table below. Project description: estimated cost. Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, anchored from Aba to Umahia to Enugu, with a branch line to Abakaliki, Makode, Lafia, Kuru, Bauchi, Gombe, Biu to Yobe, and Namatoro Maiduguri rail line. 7.65. I thought Senator Baribe would be kind enough to listen. No, he can't do two things at the same time. Yeah, but that letter is not in front of you. What is in front of me, which is not for you, because I had to ask for the
Mr. Minister, just cool down. If you need water, there is. Just take some water. You are free to continue, but try and make it.
Yeah, no, I finished. What I was saying is that we did not need the prompting of Mr. Baribe to have done this letter to the President. Neither did we need his prompting to get Minister of Finance to look into the loan request. Now, sir, it takes much more than a word. There's a process, sir. It is that process, that's where we are. When I started, I said to him, we did not award Lagos to Kano. That was awarded by President Obasanjo. We did not award Lagos to Calabar, that was awarded by President Goodluck Jonathan. And by the way, yes, I was governor in 2014, and I'm sure that the senator knows that governors don't take decisions at the federal level. Decisions are made by presidents and senators and the House of Reps. It doesn't include me. And there's no way I could have been part of that decision. But secondly, sir, knowing the current government now came in and said, we want to do the eastern flank of the rail modernization. And to do it, we are now beginning to source for loan. These loans that we're asking for approval by the committee, by the Senate, these loans were already applied for by the former government, by President Obasanjo, by President Goodluck Jonathan. We are here to implement. We are now applying for our own as the new government. We are not saying to the Chinese banks, give us also, yes, you've given us XYZ as a country. We also need this amount of money for this, and that includes the eastern flank.
Let me get it very clear so that we are sure of what we are talking about. I don't want two things to be mixed up together. You're saying, number one, that there is concessioning by GE for all lines.
Yes.
The old lines.
Yes.
Both eastern and western flank.
Yes.
Fine. Then there is an application for loan.
Yes.
For modernization, yes, of Lagos to Kano to Lagos, and then Lagos to Calabar.
Yes.
The coastal line. Mm-hmm. That is the modernization for which these loans you are seeking. But the eastern part for modernization is not part of it, and that you are in the process of doing that. Am I very, very correct?
No, you omitted something. What you omitted is that these loans were applied for by General Obasanjo in his tenure, and that President Goodluck Jonathan also applied for this loan in his tenure. We are now applying for our own loan, and that affects the eastern flank.
Okay, fine. That is, I just wanted to hear from you. Yes. I deliberately didn't say it. You're saying it now. Yes. You're applying the loan for our own. So why won't you wait if there is concessioning for both sides so that the loans you're getting, you will get loan for everybody?
You're asking us to wait for money that does not belong to us.
Honorable Minister.
It's missing concession with the new tracks, differentiated.
Mr. Minister, what we have here, we live in a country where people are always suspicious of everything. And we are now at a point of seeing is believing. If you borrow to serve amala, borrow to serve tuwo, when it comes to fufu, you are concessioning. People will ask questions. So what I want to hear from you directly is, apart from these layout proposals, where now, at this very moment, which of the projects is now funded and very much active of all the rail lines going on now, whether from Lagos to Kano or from Lagos to Calabar, which of the projects is ongoing now, whether the one given by Obasanjo or Jonathan Goodluck, which one is ongoing? That's what I'm trying to know.
Chairman, let me correct this. We're not leaving out any of the zones. The concessioning is for all the zones. The concessioning of the western line, which is Lagos to Kano, is ongoing. The concessioning of Port Harcourt to Maiduguri is also ongoing. So nobody's left out on concessioning. Then I have also said, sir, that we did not award the contract of $8.3 billion to Kano. No, we inherited it. And we're not like other government that will say, okay, abandon it, award our own, and execute our own. We wanted to execute all of them. All of them. And we've taken a step further. I repeat, without the prompting of Senator Baribe, we took a step further. This letter was written to the President on the 26th April 2016, requesting for, just like they did in the other one. Don't forget the other one, it took time too. Just like they did, requesting for approval to engage the bank in China for this loan. So, just like the other loans, as I was saying, that in this our case, we have also now applied. We also now applied to the President to allow us source for loan to construct major projects, of which the most important is the Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. Standard gauge. Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, to Yobe, Damaturu, to Abakaliki, to Owerri.
Honorable Minister, we'll go back to Abaribe, but for now, the Vice Chairman has some questions to ask.
Mr. Minister, I would like to throw these few questions maybe to get clarity for my further questions. I would like to know how many kilometers, for instance, you said Lagos-Kano Railway modernization is about 1.4.
About what?
About $1.4 billion. I'm quoting for your...
Lagos to where?
Lagos-Kano Railway Modernization Project.
No, that's Lagos-Ibadan.
But here is Lagos-Kano Modernization.
It's a segment of Lagos-Kano. So when we say Lagos-Ibadan, it's part of the Lagos-Kano.
It's Kano-Kaduna segment.
Lagos-Kano Railway Modernization Project.
But the segment is
Kano. It's at 1.
That is the Kano-Kaduna segment.
Yes.
It's 1.4 billion.
Yes. I would like to know, how many, do you rate the kilometers of all those railway that you're talking about, all the segments, as on how you arrive at the prices that you give for the awarding?
First is that, like, I want to repeat that these contracts were awarded before we came. Secondly is that it went through due process. It went through BPP, and they sat with our engineers, with engineers of BPP, and arrived at what is considered the accurate price.
No, yeah, you see, I want us to understand that we have global average of railway construction.
Yes.
And if we are talking of due process, we have to take it through that global average of awarding contracts. And for us to arrive at that, we need to know how many kilometers are these covering to enable us to understand this.
The Kano-Kaduna is 204 kilometers. Kano-Kaduna is 204 kilometers.
Okay. You know, by globally, we have the global standard is $1 million per kilometer. And now with this, yes, it's $1 million per kilometer. And now we are not talking about, this one is almost triple of that. That's why I'm trying to find out. It's 1 million per kilometer.
I don't know where you got that from, sir.
Yes, it is in the global standard. No. You check it. Of course, you check it.
I don't know where I got this one from, sir. Sir? I don't know where this one came from.
Yeah. I know.
It differs, sir. There are even some for $12.5 million. There are some for $3.something million. There depends on. There are some like the one $5.something million per kilometer. There is no one particular standard. It depends on the environment. Okay, so it's based on the topography. It depends on if it's double track. It depends on if it's double track or single track. Signaling, a lot of things are involved, sir.
Yes, I don't know if the Chinese brought in to handle this contract. They are giving us the loan. Are they giving us the manpower?
No. Again, part of the agreement we had as I got to China last week was that they are going to construct a university here in Nigeria and train our railway engineers. And they will start this year first to take some Nigerians to China. They'll be training them there while establishing the university, so that as they finish construction, they will hand over to them.
Minister, just a rider to what he's saying. Don't we have contractors in Nigeria that can construct railways?
We're waiting for them, sir.
In the whole of Africa.
We're waiting for them, sir. Whoever you have, sir, let the person come forward. Not agents, so. That will use equipment. Not agents.
Can you differentiate?
The agents are those who, I can be an agent if I wasn't a minister, and I'll be agent to say CC. Maybe if I know the minister, I say, I put my name, the name of my company is Amechi Nigeria Limited. And then you award to me, I bring CCs to construct for me. Those are agents. But you deal with the companies directly, and I have the expertise to construct.
I believe you can't be an agent because you said you don't like money.
No, I don't like money. Chairman, I didn't know you remember I don't like money. I don't like money.
Oh, you don't like money?
I don't like money.
Okay, he's finishing now.
Now, you see, I remember when Ethiopia was about to engage in this transaction with the Chinese, they gave condition. And some of the condition is that the raw materials must be sorted in Ethiopia. 2, the partnership. There must be partnership with the Nigerian counterpart to enable the Ethiopian government benefit part of it. And the training, I think the training will have been done before the project take off. Because when you look into what actually is going on right away, it is the Chinese that are conducting everything there. And I look at some, I went around some time ago, I saw some of the manuals are written in Chinese. And that is to say, yes, some of the manuals are written in Chinese. That is to say that at least they're trying to conceal their knowledge from where we're supposed to benefit from. And again, if we are to look also into the project that is ongoing now, we spoke about the southern part that we are not engaged, that we are not involved. If you remember, I don't know, because you said Lafia, Port Harcourt, Maiduguri is taking off, probably maybe to affect my own North Central zone as well, if it comes. Again, okay, training of the Nigerian citizens that we are supposed to be benefiting. We are not benefiting from it at present now. And if we are to be benefiting from it, I think these people, as I said earlier on, they're supposed to have been on the training now, so that at least before the handover, most of Nigerians will have taken part and have the skill of what actually the resources, the training, and how to maintain this railway as it goes on. Thirdly, I want you to know whether this project that we're having, it involves the construction of the railway stations too. And what are the models of these railway stations that we're talking about? And the rail that and the train that we're going to be in, the Nigerians are going to benefit from this loan. What kind of trains are they going to bring in? Because we will not sit down here while Chinese are getting the train that can go in 250 kilometers per hour, and while they bring in locomotive here for us to as part of the contract that we have received. So definitely we need to know the kind of the model of the train, the model of the rail that they are going to bring into this country.
Can you add to the question which distinguished Senator Sabi is going to ask you?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry I came in late. Senator Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, representing Niger North Senatorial District. I'm the spokesman of the Senate. I think my question is as a result of the comments by the Honorable Minister about the university. And my ears went up, and my heart also jumped when you said they are also going to construct or establish a university. And my concern here is the fact that, is that the best option for us? Given the fact that we have so many universities already in Nigeria, where the faculties of engineering are there, and perhaps rather than going in to establish a university, and at the end of the day, we end up with human beings going in there to fight for positions and other things, and we may even lose the focus. Why not look at a situation where strategically, either from a geopolitical perspective, where you can pick a university that has a faculty of engineering, for their capacity to be enhanced, because sustainably, that we do the logic, or that will do the work rather, because it means you are able to spread your competence. And since the network is going to cover the entire country, you don't have to situate a university in just one location, and at the end of the day, every other thing has to happen from one location. And you know, the problem we are having today is, yes, we are not able to carry so many students in terms of admission, but what's even the quality of the existing universities that we are actually proliferating? The argument is out there that, is it the quantity or the quality? And I think the issue of quality is more important, because if you have one university that is producing experts, it's better than so many universities that churn up graduates, like some people are saying, that are unemployable. So I don't know, within this context, if we are negotiating something for our country, the option that you have spelled out, is that the best option for Nigeria? I think that's why I'm prompted to really ask this question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, distinguished senator. Let me start from there. First, I don't know why Nigerians like to develop according to, if you build one university in Port Harcourt, you must build in all the capital cities. We're a nation. And if we're a nation, if you build one university in Sokoto, Damaturu, it should serve everybody. We should be able to, I should be able to live and know people from Damaturu. I should be able to know the culture of people in the north. Just like the people in the north should be able to know the culture of people in River State. So I don't have to establish university in every village in Nigeria, because let me tell you the risk we bear. If we say we are southerners or we are northerners, so why did we establish university in the south? So put one in the north. Then when we get to the north, somebody will say, no, why did you put it in Kano? You must also put it in Sokoto.
So, Honorable Minister, sorry, I think to me this response is a little bit digression. My question is simply saying, is that the best option? I didn't say we should establish universities in all. I said, rather than even establish a university, why not look at the competencies that exist in our existing structure and build them up? That way, sustainably, we have something on ground. Because all we are talking about is engineering. We're not talking about any other thing. So I think that's why I'm a little bit...
Mr. Chairman, there were several questions you asked in that one question, and I was responding to them according to how you say them. Now, if you talk about the issue of competencies and then not establishing university and going to the current universities that we have, you agree that the quality of education is already low. You also agree that we are not spending anything to establish this university. It is the contractor and the Chinese government that will establish the university, not we. They will import the teachers, who then will teach and grow knowledge from where the graduates of that school will become teachers. And this university is not general university. It's not university for engineering alone. It is university of transportation, not more. We're not going to do grammar or any other thing. It's just university of transportation. We're going to do with railway transportation. We're going to do with aviation. We're going to do with maritime. And that's how it's going to be. And we're not looking for more than two. They will establish one. We're hoping that GE2 will establish one. And when you then, because this skill is specialized, when they now train these graduates, then what are we doing now? What we're doing now is drive the train. If anything goes wrong, so go and call the Chinese. But we have engineers. This is specialized knowledge. You must have, and the technology is not that of ours. It's Chinese technology that we're using. So they must come to train people, and they're training at free of cost. So they train people from Nigeria so that they can hand over this project to Nigerians themselves to run. How did China become expert in railway engineering? They were not there before. They opened the door, invited foreigners, Americans and all that, and got them to specialize in that engineering. That is the idea. That's the reason why we are doing this. Now, listening to, because it also dovetails to the question he asked about training. If we don't train our people, currently I was telling the MD of railways, and I said, even the signaling, not the signaling for the railway, those things you see, like Kaduna to Idu, 1 hour, 2 hours, some of them are going bad. And we're already looking for Chinese to come and fix them. Why can't we fix them ourselves? Why? So when we have this specialized training, Then you can look at locomotives on Saturday. I want to service locomotives on Saturday. They will be serviced by Nigerian engineers because they have the training. So I think that is critical and important. Answering the other question you asked about your area, North Central comes under the Lagos Kano. In North Central, you go to Makurdi, you go to Jos, no, Bauchi. No. Yola. No, that's not it. You go to, no, they don't go to Nasarawa, and that's one thing we didn't consider because Itabe, Abuja, Mina, they're all in North Central. But what he's asking for is specifically, and he's right to an extent, that if the president has directed us that he wants us to reach all state capital, we're leaving at Nasarawa. Is there? Lafia. Oh, Lafia. Okay, so Lafia is there. So I don't know if we satisfy the second question you asked.
No, I'm not satisfied because... You say Nasarawa, not Central.
You've not answered my question about this, the training, as I've said. I'm not that clear about that training you're talking about. And you have not answered my question about the model of the rail we're going to use and the model of the tracks that we're having. Because the model of the rail determines the type of the train that this contract is going to be involved. We will not sign a contract of, then Nigerians need to know this, because we won't sign a contract of maybe a speed train, and then we are being brought to use the same train we used during the Civil War. And yeah, of course, this locomotive, because what we are seeing here are not commiserating with what China are having and operating. So we would like to understand in this aspect too, so that you should let us know clearly, so that we know Nigeria need even to see the model on the television. This is what we're expecting, because pictorial presentation is always very better and presentable. So if we can now understand that this is what we are, this is where the Nigeria hard-earned money is going to be spent, I think that one will go a long way to solve our problems. Okay, the model and the model of the rail, the model of the stations that we're having. Because if you go to China today, you see the model of the distance is even at times better off than even the airport we have here.
Mr. Minister, the concern is this. The rail line from Kaduna to Abuja, if it's 2 hours, and by car it's 2 hours. So, where is the railway modernization there? Though you are not the one that constructed it, but at least the MD of Railway is here to explain to us. And then I will also like to ask, you said part of the benefit to be derived from this project is that to create jobs. But our concern also has to do with the fact that what we see in other countries, when China gives loans, they also create jobs for Chinese. And I want you to make clarification on this, to make things easier. What are the kind of coaches and engines we're going to have? Is it the same one that will take you 2 hours by car and 2 hours by rail, or what is it? And then we also like to know, so far I'm still asking, which of the project is active on the ground now? I want to know, because on paper there is Lagos to Kano. But the ones that I've seen always on paper, being discussed about on the news, is Lagos to Ibadan. So I'm concerned about that. And then I will also say that from the experience we had in countries like Ethiopia, they have rail lines constructed by Chinese, but also the maintenance of such engines and so many things is also done by Chinese. So how do we ensure that such things doesn't happen here? And also in the interest of Nigerian Society of Engineers, it's good for you to make clarifications. Don't we have competent companies and engineers over 50 years of flag independence and people graduating from universities as engineers? Don't we have people in this country that can construct railway for ourselves? And is it in the terms of agreement of these loans that when China gives you a loan, they also give the money to the company that will do the contract? So let's have clarifications on issues like this, because we are talking about borrowing, and there are concerns that Nigeria's debt profile is rising to a certain level which may not be acceptable. And these monies will be paid in 25 years' time. I'm sure if you see faces here, when you add 25 years to their age, many people will be back to their village. So for us here as a committee on local and foreign debt, in the next 25 years, some of the records of what we do here will still be in this place. And we would like to be in history that at the time we approved of a loan, that actually a project took place that is worthy of that money for the future generations to see. So please clarify on the kind of rail that we need, that you are providing for this country, and also make clarification on the jobs that will be created, because we have problems. I tried to raise with the MD of Railway. I come from Kaduna, and there are employments being given by a railway company, and most of the villages where this railway passed through were complaining that their own people were not considered, and I believe that is very important in terms of even the security of those rail lines and what may come out of it. So issues like this will help. Though I know Abaribe, as you see him putting his hand like this, he has other questions, but you can start with this before I give it back to him.
Let me, when you ask this Dr. question, I forget the one he, I forget the one he asked. Let me just remember, you talked again about training, and you talked about the type of coaches and the speed, and the mode, the model. First is a standard gauge, and the standard gauge we are building is about 200 kilometers, the speed is 150. 150 kilometers per hour, and that's a speed train. 150 kilometers per hour. It is also not, Senator, I've used the train. When the Abuja airport was closed, I used the train 6 times. I got to Kaduna 1 hour, 48 minutes. But let me tell you what's going on. We are slow because we are building the fence, because of the cows. We directed that they should, as much as possible, ensure that cows are not killed. And so they are running at 90 kilometers per hour. When we finish the fencing from Kaduna to Abuja, we will do, if we don't do 150, we will do at least 140. And we will not be doing 2 hours to Kaduna. That will not be possible. It's a speed train, and we can upgrade it to 200 kilometers per hour. And I'm sure you've used this. I don't know about the senator from Nasarawa. I think that we meet global standard. We're on time, we are punctual, we are clean, and we are cheap. Very cheap, because the president considers the poor. In fact, we are cheap to the extent that we are being told to please increase the price. Have you seen a situation where passengers are saying, increase the price of this?
I'm just hearing from you.
No, I'm not. Till tomorrow, I'm being told every day, if I ride the train tomorrow morning, I'll be told to increase the price of this thing. But I remember the president saying the poor is important to him. So we have refused to increase the price. So it's a speed train. It's 150 kilometers per hour. The locomotive you're using currently is a construction locomotive, because our locomotives will arrive in July, right? Yes. They've shipped already. So they will arrive in July. When they arrive in July, we'll take away the construction locomotive and hand over to CCECC and put the brand new locomotive. You will love it. We are meeting global standard, and I want to say that.
You have not answered the issue of the local contents about this.
I'm coming now. If not, allow me finish now. Now, in terms of local content, I don't know whether the villagers will be right. Every village has a staff. We employed over 300 persons from the villages alone. We did not go anywhere else. We did not go anywhere outside there, and their job is to remain on the track. So we couldn't have gone anywhere. It must be a village on the track. So we did not. Then, again, is what the Chinese, what relationship we have with them is that it is only expertise that we don't have that they bring. The rest must be Nigerian staff. For us, we're unlike Ethiopia. We are saying, when you finish, we want to maintain our own locomotives ourselves and maintain our own every equipment. What have we done to that? I just told you I came back from China and I had a meeting with them. As you're constructing, we'd like to send Nigerian young men and women to China to study railway engineering. That will start this year, September. So that by the time you finish, there are two categories of people we are sending. There's a category that will go there after their first degree. We'll take them to Europe to do masters and PhD. When they come back, they will teach in that university. The second category of people we may likely train are those, once they finish their first degree in railway engineering, they come back to Nigeria for operation purposes. They will come back immediately. Now, we agree that that will start by September. And that is fully paid for by the Chinese government, not by us. So we are preparing to ensure that maintenance, operation, and all these things will be handed over to Nigerians and will be done by Nigerians. That also will create employment. By the way, it grows the economy. There was a period that tomato price was very high in Lagos and the south. When we launched the narrow gauge locomotive and it transported tomato from Kano to Lagos, it crashed the price of tomato. That's economic growth. At least people didn't complain anymore about the price of tomato. So I assure you, Chairman of the Senate Committee, that the ministry and the government is responsible to its citizens in this regard, and we will deliver on it, sir.
Thank you. Up.
Yeah, go on. Thank you, Minister. Let me just make one general comment, and then I will ask just one simple question. The general comment is this. Minister, let me tell you that we are clearly very, very worried and very distressed on this side. Because it seems to me and to my colleagues here, Minister, that when you take a decision, you don't even want to hear any other part of what any other person wants to suggest to you. And the suggestion is so simple, and it's not rocket science. And the suggestion is very simple. We have had railways in Nigeria since 1900. And you now tell us, oh, you have to do a university to be able to train railway people. So the people who were running all those railways before everything collapsed in Nigeria, were they not still around, or they are not there, or what? How do we do this? Because it now seems that like this is rocket science. It's not. It's maintenance of track and, of course, maintenance of rolling stock. So we want you to look at this matter again. The reason why we have engineering departments and faculties in universities is so that if you have funding from abroad, if you have technical people from abroad, why won't you upgrade them? Why must we set up another brand new thing? It doesn't in any way do anything to enhance bringing people. What we think really is that the Railways Department or Railways Commission, or Railway, I don't know what they call them now, Nigerian Railways. What is Nigerian Railways doing? Because they're supposed to be the people to coordinate this. Make sure that, okay, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, you have a very good engineering faculty. University of Lagos, you have a very good engineering faculty. We think ABU, we have a very good, we think you can do this. Can you? And then all you not do is to bring the faculty and the equipment and everything, and then you upgrade the status of that particular university. Why must you now have to build something fresh and new so that all they produce is people who will man railways? I don't understand. And when you now say, oh, it's for the whole transportation ministry and all that, Mr. Minister, we also have maritime university, we have universities that do all manners of all those studies. So why can't these things be broken? And of course, it's even better you can fast track it so that you don't need to wait to break ground and build fresh things. That is just by way of my own comment. And I will just say that I'm really disappointed that we, as Nigerians, think that they are doing us a favor. They are not doing us a favor. This is a loan which we are going to pay for. And why we're sitting here is that we are thinking that why should Nigeria be subjected to these conditionalities? Okay, so you take the loan, we are going to build your university, we are going to do this and that. No, it's not for free, Mr. Minister. It is not free. They are going to spend money, and they are not Father Christmas. Secondly, Mr. Minister, in your write-up here, you claim that this is a China Exim Bank loan on a first-come, first-served basis and can only be accessed within a specified time frame. For a loan we're going to pay for a loan that we're going to, and then it now seems as if we have to scramble to get the loan. No, Mr. Minister, I don't think that this country, we just exited from this same World Bank thing on our neck. And when we exited, all of us sat here and we popped champagne and said, oh, we have exited from all the debt that we were. I know that it was celebrated here. Yet, today, we are scrambling to tie another rope on our neck. So that's why we're a little bit careful on this side of the table before we approve it. Finally, Minister, let me go back to the concessioning and to the modernization. I'm assuming that you did a viability report on all this. And if you did, can this committee get the reports that you did? Because we want to know, are these things viable, or are we just going to do this for the sake of doing something? We are sure that before we can finally agree on this, we should have these documents on this site. Thank you, Mr. Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman, I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the Senator Baribe who spoke. Senator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. When all of these things were being discussed, I just want to ask, in terms of the lines, yes, we're talking about the eastern flank, and then, I don't know what name you call it, the Lagos, Ibadan, Kaduna, Kano. I don't know what name you call that. Corridor.
The Western line.
So which one is the central?
The central line is from Abuja to Itape to Warri.
So, and I ask this because, curiously, I found myself at the westernmost border with Benin Republic, and those of our people in Kebbi coming down, Kebbi State, coming down to the westernmost part of Niger State, passing through down to Badagry. I know that used to be a very quick hub. And, you know, that is a very neglected area. And with most of the things happening, nobody seems to even remember that these people exist. So I'm just wondering, since the intendment is to try and network people, how will this side of Nigeria benefit from all the things you are saying? Just curiously trying to ask, because I remember, I think, is it last year's budget, there was something about the feasibility to talking about Kontagora area, you know, but it seems as if in the whole of the discussions, for example, nothing is being said about it. So I just thought I should ask. And then to re-echo the voice of my distinguished colleague about, yeah, I think based on what you are saying, you can see obviously the upper part completely is off. KB, Sokoto, that area, completely. That's the point I'm trying to make. And of course, it's because at the end of the day, when you come to Mokwa Jeba, of course, you are going more towards Kaduna, and then that other axis are left out. I thought if you are talking about best practice, sometimes people just tend to look at a parallel provision to make it easier for people to link up to themselves. And you are the people in charge of our transportation. I think there is need for us to look at the way these things are factored, because obviously we know the role of transportation in economic development. Where transportation networks are not there, people, the poverty level, this is where they call extreme poverty. Very extreme, or is it severe? I think there is a typology they use there. So I think it's important, if you look at what I'm saying, a whole area is completely excluded. So I think it's important in this modernization, let those people that have been neglected feel the element of modernization, because we're very rural. Then to echo the point raised by Senator Abaribe, I think from this side, we're urging you to please reconsider the various strategies in terms of the sustainability element. Because everything having to do with training and all those other things, to me, borders on sustainability. So that in the long run, we're able to really fit in, and if possible, have our own inroad into at least some local content.
Yeah, to remind you about the question he asked on the source of raw materials for the project. And in addition, I want to know whether Railway has a school or an engineering agency. And if they have anything like this, where does that agency key into what you are trying to do? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, distinguished members of the committee. First, again, to start from where Abaribe stopped, Senator Abaribe stopped, is to say to Senator Abaribe, the contract does not include the university. It is out of the pressure I put on the system to say, you just can't build and depart, and there will be no training. That we are able to eke out from them that there was a need for a training center. It is not part of the contract. So if you today approve the loan, there is nowhere the loan that was signed in 2006 or 2014 said you build for us a university. So we can as well forgo the university because it's not part of the contract. The only thing is, again, as the minister in charge, thinking and saying to them, oh, wonderful idea, you have finished Kaduna, Abuja, so every day we're running after you, come and fix this is bad. We shouldn't be running after you, we should have engineers that should be able to fix those things ourselves. And the only way we can get them is if you give us a training center. And that training center should not just be a training center, it should be a university. They could say no, and you not hold them responsible because it's not part of the contract they signed. But again, to go to the question you asked, that all the technology, the people exist in Nigeria, they don't exist. That is an old technology. They don't even exist. They've retired from an ROC. Somebody said some of them are dead. I don't know what I would remember the Nigerian Railway Corporation, 1950 what? 1898, sir. 1898, sir.
Minister, you're just indicting the man sitting by your right. No. If you now say that they don't have competencies.
No, yes, yes, is it truth? Is it truth? Whether I like it or not, is it true that we are rebuilding the Nigerian Railway Corporation to have those competencies? Because there's new technology. The technology we're talking about is a technology that exists in the past, the narrow gauge technology. Now, what you're asking me a question about is standard gauge. So who has trained on standard gauge in the Nigerian Railway Corporation? Other than that, the first standard gauge in Nigeria is Abuja Kaduna. And there are only about 3 or 4 countries with standard gauge in Africa. The whole of South Africa is 500 kilometers of standard gauge. South Africa has 22,500 kilometers of railway. 22,000 of them is narrow gauge, 500 in standard gauge. I think the next is Ethiopia and possibly Kenya. So Ethiopia, Kenya, South Africa, and now Nigeria. There are no other countries that have standard gauge. So with that new technology, you say I should get this, let's assume they exist, the 1859 engineers to come and do a standard gauge that is a new technology that is strange to everybody, that China had to copy from other places. So all we're doing is to say to China, okay, you adapted from America, you adapted from Europe. Can we also adapt from you? And the way to adapt it is by training. The other question, sir, the other question is that we put a condition on the loan. Sir, there are over 50 countries asking for the loan. The amount of money available for this loan is $60 billion. Concessionary loan, 1.5%, very cheap. So if you say...
Any deadline?
Of course, the other countries waiting. There are so many countries, Ghana, Togo, they're all applying, they're all running to China. So if you say you don't want to take, they're not asking you to take. If you don't want to take, there are other countries that are on the queue.
What is the interest?
1.5. I think 1.5%, right?
The payment period?
20, I don't know about 25 years. So how else can you get? If you go to, sir, if you go to a commercial bank, you should be talking about 3 to 4. Has approved that everything that can be sourced locally must be gotten in Nigeria. So Nigerians must be involved in that loan. If not, we'll be paying a loan that we will not benefit from apart from the railway. So that has been approved by the president, sir.
Okay. Finally, sir, I think this, on a serious note too, I would like to draw your attention to, because most of the items we have that are made in China today, you see, you discover that most of them are not the European standard. So I hope you are taking into consideration that what they are bringing to Nigeria is what is acceptable globally. Otherwise, because you see, we have other things you see made in China, and when you see it here, you get them, they are not commensurate with what is even obtainable in America. Because if you go to America today, what you are getting here is different, and what you are getting in America is different. So you can see that they have compromised the standard here. So they have compromised the standard of whatever materials you are going to bring into this country. So I believe you have taken care of that so that at least we will not have substandard and obsolete issues that have been refurbished and brought to this country.
Can I answer that, sir? No. Okay, to find solution to that, we have to hire an European consultant, so who holds them accountable and make sure that they meet the European standard. So that's why I think, sir, I'll be glad to ride with you to Kaduna any day you are available, sir. I'm available tomorrow any day, so I can see the standard of construction, including the stations that you said, you talked about. Now, in the meeting we had in China, we tried to change some of the stations. We said to them in some of the stations that some of them should be turned into a mall. The one in Lagos, the one in Ibadan, the one in Kano, the one in Kaduna, Abeokuta, and Ibadan. That they should be turned into more. So when you come in, it becomes a business center. It becomes a center for economic growth. You don't just come in, hop into your train, hop into your car, and move. You come in, you can shop, you can bank, you can do whatever business you want to do. It becomes just a business center. That's part of what the new designs we are doing now to our stations. I listened to the last distinguished senator when we talked about the other areas. First, there are studies that have already arrived. There is the Birnin Kebbi from Katagora, Birnin Kebbi, Sokoto to Birnin Gwari, or Zigoni, that we are also considering. But, sir, you must also know, the funds are not just there for us to do. If not, we'll do even to my village, Ubima. There's no way to my village. It stops in Port Harcourt.
Sorry, sir.
Yes, sir.
I think from what you have here, there are some of the lines you said they are proposals. So even if it's a proposal, put it in whatever you are presenting and let it be a proposal. That way we have a sense of belonging with the fact that, well, I've not seen it. If I've seen it, we would have been.
What we came to do here is to defend the loan. If you say, bring your railway modernization project here, then, sir, I'll bring you tomorrow and you will see. Now, we didn't leave Sokoto.
See how included I am as a Nigerian.
No, you are. You're not excluded.
Honorable Minister, we're rounding up. We're going to get 2 universities, right? Hopefully. There were allegations that one will be in Rivers.
I didn't know that you already know the site. We don't know the site, sir.
It's 2, right?
Hopefully, sir. Because, you see, like I said, it's not part of the contract. We are negotiating with all the parties involved in this business to build us for us a university that will train our people.
And they are not bribing us because I know you say you don't collect bribe. Well, in that address, if you have further questions. No.
Minister, you have not addressed the question that I asked. And I said for the concessioning and for the modernization, do you have a viability study? Because you must have it before you can go ahead and so
you said we should bring it, and do I have to answer you again? You have said that before, sir. You said before this. So
that we're sure that you have it, really.
Oh, you directed us to bring it. Do I have to answer you again? My job is to forward it to the committee.
All right, thank you. We'll look forward to getting it.
Mr. Minister, on the last note, no, you are relaxed. As a committee, we are intending to do some oversight. Now, where can we see real projects going on?
We have concluded Kaduna, Abuja, and I thought the chairman would say, yes, I've used it. That will confirm that we've completed. We are waiting for you to give us the loan so that we can do the work in.
Yes.
We're not taking one kobo for the concessioning. What he's asking for is a viability report on the concessioning, and that will give to him. It does not in any.
Not both of them, both the concessioning and
The terms of it.
Oh no! You can't. This is a federal government contract. You can't ask for viability because you're not doing a commercial study whether it is viable or not. We want infrastructure development like we do roads, so that you will not get. One you will get is the viability study of the narrow gauge, because that one is business. We're sitting down with GE to negotiate, and for them to even go into business, there must be a commercial study.
Minister, you said that on the eastern corridor, let me say, that is Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, that you are now in the process, and you listed out in your document here, $7.8 billion or so you're going to borrow for the modernization. I think you said that. You only said that you are in the process, which means you're not doing anything.
Can you round up?
You can address us on it now, because I'm looking at your document here.
I think you can.
So that's what we are talking about.
Yeah.
The microphone is on.
Yeah. Okay. Off your. Can you round up?
Mr. Chairman, it's important that the distinguished senator again may want to hear me. Luckily, it appears to be the final time. The first step, sir, is that we are concessioning Lagos to Kano, up to Kaura, Namoda, and to Funtua. We are concessioning, that is business, that is PPP. We are also going to concession Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. That again is business, that is PPP. That is where you will have what you call viability studies. That we are ready to give to you tomorrow morning. It's called OBC, Outline Business Case. We'll submit them tomorrow because we already have them. The other project you are talking about is infrastructural development of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is like awarding a road contract. It's like awarding the contract for seaport. It's like awarding the contract for water, and which, if approved by the National Assembly, will be awarded. We can, unless you're asking us to submit to you.
What is it, Minister, that you are saying different from what I'm saying? That you are awarding a contract on the Eastern Corridor, which you have just accepted, and you're not awarding anyone on the Western Corridor because you are awarding on the Eastern Corridor. You're not awarding on the Eastern Corridor because you are in the process of doing the negotiation. That is in your letter.
Chairman, I think Senator is taking us back again. Why I think he's taking us back is that I had explained to you here, sir, and maybe he wants me to start afresh, that we met a contract awarded by President Obasanjo for Lagos to Kano, which is the western flank, in 2006. We also met a contract awarded by President Goodluck Jonathan in 2014 for Lagos to Calabar. And what we agreed to do as a government is to implement those contracts. That's what we agreed to do as a government. At the same time, government has thought it wise to also, without the prompting of Senator Barry Besa, in April, we requested, just like other government did, to approach the Chinese bank to say, can you give us a loan of $16 billion, of which the the Port Harcourt to Maiduguri is about $7.8 billion. If that is approved, we will start the process of negotiation for that loan. One of the requirements for the negotiation of that loan is that there must be capital funding, and that the National Assembly must approve that we can take the loan. When we get that done, then we'll award that contract, sir. And I explained that. I don't know why.
There's nothing very different between what me I'm saying and what you're saying.
No,
we're simply saying.
You said we're doing nothing.
We didn't get our own.
You said we're doing nothing.
No, I didn't say you're doing nothing. If you did not just say it today, maybe Nigerians would not know that you had tried to, or you had started a process to now get that. It wasn't part of the brief that was given to us. The brief that was given to us was with respect to concessioning. And which is why we...
The letter you read also said that in due course we are trying to modernize the eastern flank.
With all respect, Mr. Minister, due course for us in Nigeria doesn't mean anything. Due course means that, okay, you people wait. When we think about you, we will come back to you.
It's okay.
No, sir, no, sir, no, sir, no, sir. Just to remind Senator Baribe that I'm from Port Harcourt. Just like he's an Igbo man, I can also claim to be an Igbo man. My name is Chibike Amechi. Good. So he cannot say that we will sit here with the president's mandate that we should look for funds to construct the eastern line. And he will say here that due course means that we will have died. I don't...
So now the...
My name is Rotimi, that's what people are calling us.
My name is Rotimi because I'm a Nigerian, but I'm an Ikwere man from Port Harcourt in Rivers State, and you cannot deny me the Igbo descent.
Mr.
Just one second, Allah.
Honorable Minister, we have another committee. Thank you very much. You have been able to answer questions, and also I believe it's
just one second, Allah.
You and Abaribe can continue elsewhere.
Well, Honorable Minister.
Not in this place.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Just a last one from Senator Sabi.
Honorable Minister, I think, like the chairman said earlier, he said relax. Now, perhaps in all of this, you've not presented this case in Chinese language. Maybe if you have done that, I think since nobody will understand it, they will have just said, please, Honorable Minister, enough. That's what you should be speaking with this man. He understands China.
Mr. Honorable Minister, I wish you, well, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Those were the interactions between the Honorable Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, and the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt, chaired by Senator Shehu Sani, on the perceived exclusion of the Southeast from the beneficiaries of $5.8 billion loan request from China, Exim Bank, by the federal government for construction of standard gauge lines across the country. The minister responded saying that he describes the submissions by the senators as misconceptions, highlighting that the Southeast has been included in the rail modernization plans, including concessions by GE being for all eastern and western lines, including Port Harcourt to Aba, Aba to Uyo, Uyo to Calabar, and Asaba to Onitsha. On local content, the senators wanted assurances that Nigerians have been employed in this huge project, and the minister responded saying that the quota for Nigerians being employed is at an acceptable level, although efforts are ongoing to increase this. And in terms of the value for money, if the loan is approved, the senators require that these trains will be at an acceptable and globally accepted standard, which the minister is confident that they do, saying that the trains currently run at 150 kilometers per hour, and they can be upgraded to 200 kilometers per hour, and they do meet globally accepted standards. The Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt will be conducting oversights in furtherance of these investigations prior to approval or not of the loan. And it was on this point that we come to the end of this live broadcast, coming to you from the network service of the NTA. My name is Dennis Adegunloye, saying thanks for watching, and on behalf of the outside broadcasting crew,